I was really excited about doing the room at St. Mark's Spa because had already been familiar with the Gladstone Hotel. I'd done with their artist designed rooms in the hotel, and I'd already kind of given it thought to that project, like, I wonder what I would do if I did that. So when you approached me to do this idea, I was really excited because it kind of brought that back, and I'd already kind of had the idea of what I was going to do then.
But I was very excited, first of all, because I'm a bathhouse guy, which is part of it, which I'll talk about. But the other part of it is that I had a special relationship with Sean, who's the guy who asked me to do it. We had a really crazy, fun relationship, and he was kind of the first really beautiful lover I ever had.
I jumped at the chance because it was a part of history, and it was going to be something that I could celebrate that space where I had such an amazing time.
I still think it was a perfect match. It was perfect venue to show it over there because of, in the photographs there that very present sexuality, and the space itself had that sort of charge, like that's what was going on over there. So it was absolutely perfect match. And often the photos that I exhibit and work on, I can't show them in the galleries because they have a whole bunch of issues about what is too much. Is it pornography? Is it art? Well, how are we gonna classify that?
When I was asked to do it, I was wow! Like, I really want to celebrate in a positive, sex positive, gay positive way my life at the baths. And so how was I going to negotiate all of that, right? Because on the one hand, Sean was my partner like many years ago, and he was the one who was organizing it, and we were still friends, and I was always coming there to the St. Mark's to go to the bathhouse, and oftentimes I would stop off and have a drink. The solution I came up with was I mentioned it to my present partner, Ian Jarvis, and he said that he would be willing to work on the room, so Ian Jarvis designed the room. And then in terms of the room itself, so when I finally saw the pig pen, it was like, wow. I'm just laughing because I remember seeing it for the first time, and I think pig is a real gay term. Like, I'm a pig, I'm a sex pig. Like, it's really important, and it's all about kind of celebrating your kind of sexual impulses and celebrating also just wanting to be a bottom. I don't know. Are pigs all bottoms? I don't know. Maybe not. But I think there's a bottom quality to it. If somebody comes up to you and says, I'm a pig, in a gay way at a leather bar or something.
With these rooms that were created, these really quite beautiful spaces, it's less about anonymous sex, and that you really have to sit there and enjoy them. Like, look at Shane McKinnon's room with the barn board and feel like you're in a barn, or Brad Fraser's room and you're looking like you're in a cartoon, in a comic book, or Donorama's where there's like 9/11 is right in front of you. Like, so it takes the anonymous out of having anonymous sex. And so if you are in that room with a guy, and I've had sex in my room with a guy, and it was really quite, I didn't tell him it was my room, but it was like a lot of discussion about it. So here we are, we weren't just like trying to get off in 3 minutes or 10 minutes or whatever, but there was actually a discussion about it.
Was in there. Oh, so a lot of the other materials that were in the room are directly from my parents' farm. When I decided that was going to be the idea that I went for, I went home to my parents and actually walked around the drive-in shed, the wood shed, and just the farm, and was just like, can I have that? Can I have that? Because there was all of these rusty tools and chains and stuff like that I wanted to use. This old, really rusty paint can that I found that ended up going on top of the locker in the room. And then all of the tools and the chain I nailed up on one of the walls. And then I did want to cover everything, and then so after I'd done that, I noticed that there was still this border along the top of the room that was visible, that was like the old green color. So I decided I went into a cheap little dollar store and bought a whole bunch of old country records and lined and bordered the ceiling with the country records.
Yeah, and it was just such a new idea for Toronto to have a bar, a nightclub where you could dance and watch a sex show and have a performance and go to the bathhouse kind of all in one. My photos are portraits of men, but they are pornographic, they're explicit. They show erections, asses, blowjobs, explicit stuff that it's not normally associated with portrait photography.
Okay.
There was a huge change in that culture. Like in the 90s, from what I remember about houses, it was a place still to hook up, to socialize in a way, to meet people. And it's a very strong part of our gay culture. Like that is kind of like maybe because of the whole prosecution that we had to experience maybe in the 70s and 80s, and it was sort of like a safe place where gay men could meet and hook up.
I think I first went, I'm kind of an aficionado or an expert at the baths. If you want any advice about going to the bath, just ask. Though I have this fear that the baths are going away, like there will be none because of Grindr. But yeah, that's where I first sort of had my first sexual experiences. I mean, I actually guess I had one or two before the baths, but it was where I first came into my own. It was like I discovered candy. I was in Wonderland, and this would have been back in 1981, which is when I came out. I really loved it there, and there's many reasons. Like, I mean, I think people can over-romanticize bathhouses and say that they're completely democratic, and they're not completely in a kind of a Whitman-esque sense of, all men and their bodies. And they're not, of course, because there's a lot of body fascism at the baths, but then, of course, there's always something. The other thing that's important to remember is there's something for everyone, and everyone is sexy to somebody.
Oh no, I think art and sex and bathhouses and all that stuff is completely intertwined, and especially at the time that we were doing this thing, it was 2010. There was a lot going on with the art community. There was certainly going a lot on in the gay community, gay and lesbian community, with Pride and like a lot of politics. So art has always been about politics, and certainly gay sex and bathhouses have always been surrounded with politics of some sort. And so the closing of this space and culminating with Pride and what was going on with Pride at the time, I think it made perfect sense. And I remember Daytona Bitch, I believe, performing there, and I sat there, like I wanted to recreate that kind of thing in my own little mind of just being one of those men in a towel that I used to see. Those old Bette Midler photographs of her performing in New York, and just those men sitting around in towels, like really enjoying it. And I think it was Daytona Bitch when she was just starting her career. So I was probably like heroin marks, like a lot of those girls who are now kind of established. They were just starting out back then. I don't know if there was any kind of, I don't remember if there was any kind of, like, I don't know if Sharon Matthews actually ever did a night, for example. That would have been fantastic if she would have. But, it's like just sort of a lot of drag events, and I don't know if there was any other sort of cabaret like events kind of thing. It's a great experiment. Whether it worked or not doesn't matter, but it's still. I'm glad somebody gave it a go.
I still think it's a great place, and so for me and it's very underground. There's a lot of self-hatred around that gay men have, of course, because of homophobia, and they express it sometimes about the baths. Like, I wouldn't go there. That's a horrible place. Of course, they all end up at the baths eventually.
I loved St. Mark's Spa. Like, I always loved it, and I was really quite sad when it was going to close. So near the end there, I was going a lot, and it was becoming kind of a ghost town, and you could see the place every time I went. Like another shelf was taken down, or another area was closed down, or another steam room was out of commission, or you could see it slowly. Some more tiles off the ceiling were coming down, and the space was slowly transforming into something else. And I remember going to the vending machine, and I'm not really a vending machine kind of guy, but I remember going to the vending machine and thinking, that vending machine was full of candies and chocolate bars and bags of chips and things that you need in the middle of the night when you're at a bathhouse. But I remember, I guess the owners never bothered to restock it because it's like, okay, we'll just let it run out and that'll be that. And one of the last times I was there, I went to the vending machine, and there they were, just the saddest little package of butter tarts. I think they were $1.50, and it was like, so I've seen this machine full for years and years and years, and now I've seen it slowly empty, and there's just one thing left. So I had to buy these butter tarts. So I threw in the $1.50 or the $2, whatever it was, and the butter tarts came out, and then I held the butter tarts and I looked at this empty vending machine, which you don't ever really see because you want vending machines to be full. And there I had the butter tarts. And so I did later on take the butter tarts and I did make it into sort of a piece. I was doing my master's at OCAD, so I took all these photos of the sauna and the shower area just kind of being dead. This last piece of food from the vending machine, the butter tarts. and myself in these spaces, like in the shower that was now decommissioned, and in the sauna that was now decommissioned, and so it was kind of a sad moment for me, but I thought, you know what, I have butter tarts. Nobody really understood the importance of the butter tarts, but to me it was like the end of another male space, all male space in Toronto, saying goodbye.